farmers, welcome to Kilimo Diaries here on TV 47. Now last week we focused on beekeeping. On this episode we want to focus on modern beehives. What are some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages in case you are using a traditional beehive, and do the outcomes in production differ? So join me as I talk to a model farmer of the week, Mr. Peter Mbugua of Tendo Apiary. So last week it was Peter Mbugua, and this week it is still Peter Mbugua, and I must say this has been the most exciting episode I have ever had to shoot. So karibu tena, and asante sana for having us again.
Thank you. Welcome to our workshop.
Yes, how have you been?
We'll be good.
And I must say Jaffe is still traumatized by the little casting. Wewe umekuwa stung before. How was it for you?
It was not that bad because I'm not allergic. The problem is when you're allergic. When you're allergic, you can really react.
Yes.
But then that's why we use a very, very reliable protective gear. Okay? Yes. So that to make sure you are safe whenever you're doing your thing with the beehives.
Okay, me, I just can't wait to show Jaffe how it's done. Now watch. Now, let's begin. Just reminding the viewers, how long have you done beekeeping, and what motivated you to start?
We have quite a good experience, over 10 years experience in manufacturing and distributing beehives, and we also beekeepers ourselves. Actually, I'm an apiarist myself. There's a lot of potential in beekeeping. We realize there's a gap, especially with natural products. Natural products first, then as an income generating activity to boost family livelihoods and income.
All right, and I know on your apiaries you use modern hives. Maybe just remind us why you chose that instead of the traditional ones. Ama, did you even start with the modern ones?
One of the objectives of our project is to encourage people to adopt modern hives away from the traditional beehives where they used to kill all the bees. You know, our first mission is to save the bees. Okay, especially because of the environmental impact of bees, especially food security because of pollination. Traditional keepers used to actually harvest the whole hive, remove from the brood to the honey. Some actually burn the bees and wait now for the next season. So our main objective first is to save the bees first. Okay, like I told you last time. Treat your bees well and they'll take care of you.
Well, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, pollinators in Kenya are really threatened, like I've said before, especially because of wrong harvesting practices, habitat loss, clearing forests all over and putting out buildings, okay, and use of chemical pesticides. Chemical pesticides use both useful and useless insects, harmful insects, so to say.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I know everyone who watched last week's episode is, maybe wondering how do they get the modern hives. Before even we get there, how many hives do you have so far? And then now take us through the process of the new hives. How many types exist? Here
we manufacture 3 types of hives mainly. We have what we call the standard Langstroth beehive, which is this one. Okay, it comes with a brood box and a honey super. Okay, this is the part that we harvest, the top box. Like you can see in the middle, there's what we call a queen excluder. The queen excluder, yes, this. The queen excluder prevents the queen from laying in the top box, the honey super or the honey storage. This is where they store the honey. So the foragers that you see outside here will go through the front entrance, make comb first, then pass through the queen excluder and store the honey on the top box. This one is the queen is the only one that lays in the hive. And once you restrict it to the bottom box, that means the super box will not have any brood. You harvest pure honey. This is what we call a Langstroth. Then we have what we call a Kenya top bar hive. It's a bit different because this one has frames. Okay, the bees make the honeycomb along this frame. We put a comb starter to guide them to build along the frame, so that when you are removing, the combs come out one at a time. Actually, the advantage of this, in summary, what we call hives with movable frames, it makes them easier to inspect because you are able to remove one comb at a time and replace the combs. Unlike the traditional hives whereby you have to remove everything. Okay, the movable frames are now the modern hives. Then there is the Kenya Toba hive. This one actually imitates the traditional beehive, only that it is a trapezium rectangular shape, vertical shape. This is vertical, this is horizontal. The same, it has movable bars, so you are able to inspect your combs one at a time without destroying the whole brood, unlike the traditional beehives. Okay. Now with this one, once you cut these frames, we use a honey press to squeeze out the honey from those combs.
But I see now in that one,
yes,
you have not even done the...
Because this one is usually used for comb honey. We cut out the comb.
Okay.
Okay.
You cut out
we cut out the comb and sell it as comb honey. Okay. That one, we extract. Once you remove the combs from the hive, you will uncap. When the bees reduce the moisture content to about 16 to 21%, if you remember, that honey is ready for harvesting. But the honey is sealed, so it's not possible for the honey to come out even if you put it in the extractor. So you need an uncapping fork to remove the capings. That is the wax cover. Once they have reduced the moisture content to the correct level, they cover it with wax, what we call capings. Now you can use this uncapping, people call it a comb. Okay, comb uncapping fork to remove the wax. You can also use this uncapping knife to remove the wax, put in the honey extractor and spin. Once you spin, the honey will come out and leave the comb. Okay, so the bees are able to reuse the same comb again. So the advantage of this behavior is that you are able to harvest multiple times in a year.
With this one?
With this one. Because already the honey will come out and leave the comb. Okay, so the bees will use the same comb a few times without having to build new comb. It takes a lot of honey to make wax, and the combs are made of wax. It actually takes about 3 times amount of honey to make wax. Yeah, to make wax. So you will save the bees a lot of resources and a lot of work if you use this modern hive.
All right.
Okay.
And in that one, in the trapezium one, where does the queen stay?
In other hives, there's only one entrance. So this one will enter from that front. The queen excluder, this time it is horizontal. As you can see, there's a galvanized wire mesh that will restrict the queen to the brood box. The brood box is the front part. We leave about 7-8 frames for the brood. Then the foragers, the bees you see outside here, are smaller. They're able to pass through that mesh to store the honey here. So you're asari diotinatoa after the queen excluder. Okay?
All right. And there's the catch box as well?
A catcher box is very, very useful. You can call it a catcher box or a trapper, a bee trapper. It's very useful in catching swarms. Okay? The good thing with the catcher box is that it is easily movable. You can actually be able to put it very high up. Bees they feel safe when they are much higher up. So ukiweka juu sana, it is easier for them to occupy the catcher box than a hive ikiwa chini. Okay, so now the frames from the catcher box and the frames on the brood box are the same size. So nyuki wakiingia, we just let them build a few frames, store some honey, maybe some brood so that they don't abscond. Then we transfer to the beehive and return to the catcher box to the kama ni juu ya muti. Yeah, because it is easier to handle than having to put a whole beehive on top of a tree or on top of a house. Yes.
Okay. And do beehives, modern beehives, have standard dimensions when you're making them?
Yes, beehives have standard dimensions. The length of a beehive has to be standard. And it actually have to be proper because even the modern beekeeping equipment is made according to the measurements of these hives. Yes. Like if you put this frame there in the honey extractor, you realize it will fit in one of those trays. It will fit. It will fit. Okay. If it is not standard, it will not fit.
Oh, I see.
So the equipment is tailored to fit Langstroth equipment. Okay. Yes.
All right. And now in terms of color, I have noticed there's the blue one, there's the yellow one, and there's the dark green. Why is that? Ama bees are just attracted to these three colors?
No, the bees are basically not attracted to any color. Actually, what we brings in the bees is the wax that we put in and the lemongrass oil.
Yes.
Okay, that's the bee attractant. I remember explaining it to you. We do the different colors for various reasons. One, if the hives are so close together, it will help the bees identify their own hives. Okay, so to avoid what we call drifting. Drifting is a bees from this hive when they are coming from foraging to enter a colony that's not theirs. It's very risky for them because they can even get killed by the bees there. You see, all the bees in one hive are from one queen.
Yes.
Okay, so wanajuana
Yes.
by smell, by pheromones. So ikiingia kwa mzinga ingine, it is very dangerous for that bee. Okay, so we different colors help in drifting. That's number one. This color, for example, there are people who don't want their hives to be seen.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so they use jago green. Jago green, once it's in the bush, wears the honor. Okay, so people have this misconception that yellow attract bees. I don't think that's a factor as such. Then there is the aesthetics of your farm. You want your farm to look beautiful. Actually, you have people asking for even 6, 7 different colors.
Oh,
yes, yes.
okay.
Yeah, it becomes a very beautiful apiary. But colors mainly have nothing to do with the bees.
And now in terms of harvesting, there's this big machine. You've said it's for spinning the honey. How does it work?
Honey extractor. The centrifuge honey extractor, like we said, once you remove you harvest your frames. These are the frames you remove from the beehive when you're harvesting. Okay? Actually, that time it's not a frame, it's a honeycomb.
It's a honeycomb.
Okay? Once the bees have made comb here, they have stored honey in it, they have sealed it, now that's a honeycomb. Now you'll uncap your honeycomb with this uncapping fork or the uncapping knife. Place the honey extractor, a centrifuge honey extractor, and once you spin through the centrifugal force, it will throw the honey and leave the comb.
Okay.
Okay?
So spin it like how? This?
Yeah, you spin like that.
Easy like that.
Yes, very, very easy. Spin like a minute, then reverse the other side because the honeycomb
Is
has
on
honey
both
on both
sides.
sides. Then you reverse the other side. The honey will come out, go through this stainless steel double sieve. Okay, they are stainless steel double sieve.
Why is it double?
Double, the first one, the inner sieve has bigger slots, so it's able to catch the bigger particles. So any smaller particle that you pass through here will be caught by this very fine. This mesh on the lower side is very, very fine. So after that, the honey is ready for bottling. You just let it settle for some time, and it's ready for bottling. If you notice, we are very, very keen on hygiene. Yes, our equipment are stainless steel or food grade plastic. Nothing less than that.
All right, now that of course takes us to our commercial break. When we will be back, we'll talk about honey and the harvesting process and money. So do not go too far, keep it TV 47. Welcome back. This is Kilimo Diaries here on TV 47, and on this episode we are focusing on modern beehives, and of course with me is Mr. Peter Mbugua of Tendo Apiaries. And kabla tuende break, we have discussed the placement of the hives, and now I'm wondering, can these modern beehives be moved from place to place depending on the season in order to attract the bees, ama modern zinakaa tu penye ulikuwa umeinstall at first?
They can actually move from place to place, though it's advisable to keep them at the same point. But there are people who do pollination services, especially the bee farms. Hawana nyuki za kutosha. And a farm without bees, the production is very low. Actually, bees are known to pollinate more than 70% of the crops that humans eat. And they increase production by more than 30%, including even determining the shape and the size of fruits, especially of things like avocado. So there are people who do migratory beekeeping, but it's not very, very popular here yet. And there are people who do pollination services. They take the hives to the farms when the plants are flowering. Then after that, they take them back to the apiary.
Yes. But would you, as a farmer who has done this beekeeping for a very long time, would you advise for migratory beekeeping?
could be advisable, but I don't think in Kenya we have those extremely dry areas.
Yes.
So what people do, because you don't have very big commercial beekeepers, they can feed them. Yeah, there are people who do feed it, maybe with pollen, the pollen that you've harvested with the bees, you can feed them back, and sugar water, which is not very advisable, yes. Or honey water, just honey and mix with water to sustain them. Our seasons are not very far apart, so you only need maybe a little feeding. That is in extreme cases of drought. And once you feed them, you are not feeding them to make honey. You are feeding them to keep them alive until the season comes.
Okay, all right. And now, do these modern hives require inspection? And maybe when you're doing that inspection, what exactly are you checking for?
It is advisable to inspect your hives once in a while, maybe once a month. What are you looking for during inspection? You are looking, one, at the colony strength, at the health of the colony. The health of the colony is determined by the health of the queen. Is the queen laying? If the queen is laying, how is the laying pattern? Okay, if it's laying a lot of all the frames are almost full with brood, that's a very strong queen. If it is spotty, unapata tu mayai hapa na pale, so the queen may be failing, what we call a failing queen. The queen may be sick, or sometimes they no eggs at all. So the queen may be absent. That could be a queenless hive. So we are able to replace the queens that are not performing. Number two, what we look for are pests. Okay, they are very, they are pests like wax moth, which is very devastating to a hive. If
so
the colony,
that pest will enter inside the hive when the bees are still inside?
Yes, when the bees are still inside.
Okay.
Especially if it's a small colony, if a small weak colony, a small swarm may get into your hive. Now, you want to give a time a fighting chance to grow. That's why our hives have an entrance that is reducible. If you see the yellow and green entrance, it's reducible. If you get a very small hive entering the beehive, make it very small so that they are able to defend that hive until they build up. But then again, if the small swarm comes in, we are able to boost them by getting what we call a capped brood from a strong colony, introducing it to the small swarm. So when the bees emerge from that swarm, from that frame, they'll be part of that colony.
All right.
Yes.
And Aki, hapo pa kuinspect, I think Jaffe is already out kwa sababu anaogopa bees. Masese out because anaogopa bees. I'm the only one who can do it.
Of course. And also inspection also gives you an indication,
yes,
of when maybe you can harvest your honey, when your honey will be ready. Yes.
All right. And so how are your modern hives designed so that they can be pest-free?
We have an entrance, what we call a hive entrance.
That's like the red one?
This for the catcher box. There's one in front here. Okay. The hive entrance is reducible, and also it has very small holes, just only bees can fit in through there. Otherwise, if you put very big entrances, you put a lizard, you put a rodents inside there, you find the wax moth, which is very devastating. And again, there's something else that is very devastating, the sugar ants. Once they have detected there is honey inside there, they'll crawl up. Yes. So we have special studs. I don't know if you have one here now. We have special studs that are able to prevent the sugar ants and the safari ants from crawling up into the beehive. Yes. So
the interesting part now, honey. On your apiary, how much honey do you harvest in a season?
Honey harvesting depends on the kind of hives that you have. Okay. So I think let's talk about harvesting per type of hive.
Yes, per type.
I start a Langstroth, which you call a shallow Langstroth, with the smaller frames, will give you about 10 kgs per harvest. Okay? Each will give you about 10 kilos per harvest.
Each of this?
No, the whole hive, yes.
Okay.
Because it has 10 frames, and each frame has a capacity of about 1 kg. The capacity of hive productivity depends on two factors: how strong your colony is, and how much forage is available in your area. You can have a very strong colony, lakini hakuna maua, hakuna miti. So where the bees get the nectar that they need to make the honey and the other resources. So you need a good colony, and there's a way we can boost the colony, like I told you, where you can replace the queen, we can introduce brood, capped brood into a weak hive. And then, of course, planting. We encourage people to plant as much as possible. Okay, bees forage about 3-kilometer radius. But even if there's forage around you, you can only depend on non-forage. So plant as many bee-specific plants, bee-friendly plants, what we call bee botany, as much as you can. A Kenya Toba hive will give you almost the same as that, 10 to 12 kgs each harvest. But this one delays. You have to cut off the comb and use a honey expressor, a honey press to remove the honey. So your bees will go back to zero to build new comb. So it will take time for them to build new comb again, where the guy with the long throat, his bees are already reusing the old comb, just bringing nectar, storing it, processing it a bit, reducing moisture content. Yeah.
So this one makes the work easier for the bees.
It makes work easier for the bees and means more honey for the beekeeper. You can harvest the hive about 3 or 4 times in a year when the forage is good. Okay.
And does the honey of modern hives even taste better than those of traditional hives? And in terms of even cleanliness, is there a difference between the honey that is harvested in both?
Yes, there's a very, very big difference between modern hives and the traditional honey from the traditional hive, especially because of the queen excluder. Yes. The queen excluder prevents the queen from laying in the super box. The super box is the honey storage area, the top box, which is this box, or this one in this case in the standard one. Unlike the traditional log hive, where the brood and the honey is mixed. So once they cut off the comb, one side of the comb has honey, the other side of the comb has brood. That's the egg, larva, pupa stage. These people don't even have time to cut off whatever. Or you may find even one side of the comb is honey, the other side of the comb is, and they just press it out together. So mpaka hizo brood zinachanganya tu kwa asali. So it's quite unhygienic. Yes.
All right. And once now you've gotten your honey, how would you advise a farmer to store it and to even package it for selling?
The first thing you do once you extract your honey is to sieve it properly, proper filtering. If you don't filter your honey properly, it will crystallize. Crystallization means the fructose and the glucose molecules will bind. And they usually bind to any particle that is in the honey. That's what known as harina inashikana. So people start saying in sukari guru, okay, the honey is not bad.
Yes.
We call it crystallized honey. Actually, that means that honey is raw, it's not heated. But then customers out here watasema asali yako ni sukari guru. So make sure you sieve it properly to remove all the particles so that the glucose and the fructose molecules don't find particles to bind on for the honey to crystallize.
Okay. And on average, in terms of now money matters, how much does honey, one tub, go for? How much do you sell it for?
Our retail price is 850 shillings per kg, but we also sell to repackers, people who pack at slightly lower. And the people who sell the honey as much as 2,000 shillings, so it depends with your market. This is capable of giving you 10,000 shillings per harvest, depending on your clientele.
Okay.
Yes.
And for the farmer that is now interested, I know Jackie is very interested. How would you advise her so that she doesn't make mistakes once she has gotten the modern beehive so that she can get maximum production?
What we do, once you get you source your bees from us, we work with you, Jackie, from installation to making sure your hives are stocked, okay? Because of one of the biggest challenges are farmers out there having uncolonized hives. A hive without bees is like a factory without workers. So it's just there depreciating without benefiting the farmer. And that's a big challenge that is happening out there. So engage a reputable company like Tendo Apiary. We'll supply you with quality equipment. We will guide you on installing. Actually, we prefer installing ourselves. We have a very good team here led by Kelvin. We install the hives. We consider all the factors, and we make sure the hives are stocked. Stocked in making sure your hives have bees. Then you can either engage as contractors to manage the site for you. We can train you, or even your worker to make sure your investment pays you.
Okay.
Yes.
And parting shot as we wind up is how can then someone reach you?
We are at Ruaka, Kasharage. Our number is 0719-120021. come to us for Modern Beehives, for support, for training, for value addition. We do the entire beekeeping value chain from production, processing, value addition, and training. Yes.
All right, fantastic. Asante sana for speaking to us and giving us more insights on how modern beehives compare to traditional beehives. And of course, asante sana to you for always watching Kilimo Diaries here on TV47. And thank you to our partner, the Kenya National Farmers Federation, and of course, the crew. Keep it TV47. I am Sheila Chelangat, and of course, this is Kilimo Diaries, a show for the farmer, by the farmer, with the farmers.